Welcome into the Coaches Show here on Saturday, November 13th. We've got a lot of action to discuss between college football and Wildcat and Lady Cat sports, so let's get right into it. Starting with college football, got a couple of games I want to mention for y'all starting at 11 a.m. Always a good matchup between the Oklahoma Sooners and the Baylor Bears. OU is 9-0 in with their overall record and number 8 in the nation. Baylor, though, not too far behind at 13th with a 7-2 record. That game is in Waco, and that game is starting pretty soon here at 11 a.m. So that should be a good game, and potentially could be Oklahoma's one of, if not their last trip to Baylor. So we'll see if that is the case. And then moving over to another 11 a.m. game, we've got the SMU Mustangs, who are 7-2 at home, hosting the UCF Golden Knights. UCF comes into the game 6-3. SMU has had 2 straight losses, so they're going to definitely be looking to get back in the win column with a win over a pretty good UCF team who, as many know, have really surged over the last few years. So check out that game at 11 a.m. on ESPNU. I failed to mention that the Oklahoma-Baylor game is at 11 a.m. on Fox. But then the last games I've got time to mention are kind of the later games. So you've got a 6 p.m. matchup between the Texas A&M Aggies and Ole Miss. That's in Oxford, Mississippi. A&M is number 11 in the nation, 7-2. Mississippi, or Ole Miss, also 7-2, 15 in the nation. So should be a good one. A&M is favored by 2.5, and you can catch that game at 6 p.m. on ESPN. 30 minutes later, you've got a University of Arkansas will be in Death Valley taking on LSU. Arkansas is 6-3. LSU having a bit of a rough season at 4-5. Coach Ed Orgeron is stepping down after the season, so going to look to get a win over a ranked Arkansas team when they come to Death Valley tonight at 6:30 p.m. And y'all can catch that good SEC matchup tonight on the SEC Network. Then two more games I've got time to mention are a 7 p.m. matchup between the TCU Horned Frogs in Stillwater taking on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. TCU is 4-5, Oklahoma State 8-1 and number 10 in the nation. And should be a good game, although Oklahoma State is favored to win big. We'll see if the Horned Frogs can't pull it a little bit closer. You can catch that game at 7 p.m. on Fox. And then lastly, for all you Longhorn fans, Texas has been reeling since the they lost their Oklahoma game, their annual rivalry game with Oklahoma in Dallas, and since then they've really struggled to get across some wins, and the record kind of reflects that at 4-5, but luckily they'll be hosting the Kansas Jayhawks, who are 1-8, and folks can catch that Big 12 matchup at 6:30 p.m. on ESPNU. And that's all the college football I've got time to mention. But then moving over to Wildcat and Lady Cat sports in review, the women's basketball team on Tuesday held their last scrimmage. It was a quad match, that was not a scrimmage, it was a game, but they unfortunately lost to the Tyler Legacy Raiders 63-15, and then last night they were out in Mesquite Horn. Then men's basketball had also a busy week, as on Thursday they were out in Greenville taking on the Lions and were able to get victories in both halves, 34-18 and 21-16, to get their second win in scrimmage play. And moving ahead, today they will be in Tyler taking on the Legacy Raiders, and starting with freshmen at 1 p.m., JV will follow at 1:30, and the Varsity will have their first regular season contest in Tyler taking on the Legacy Raiders at 3 p.m. And that's not all the basketball news this week, as premier standout Justin Hare signed his letter of intent to play on at Dallas Baptist University. Congratulations to him. He'll be joining a former Wildcat basketball player, Cameron Kahn, out there at DBU, and also fellow Lady Cat volleyball player, Sadie Washburn. So a couple of Sulphur Springs athletes out there at DBU, and wishing Justin Hare nothing the best, and even more so in their season, which again starts today in Tyler. Not only that, but Addison Cadell signed her letter of intent yesterday at the multi-purpose building to play softball at the University of Texas at Dallas. Cadell expects to play second or third and really hopes to get on the field her freshman year and to lead, something that she said yesterday is music to her ears. So best of luck to her moving ahead, not only in her collegiate career, but in her senior spring season coming up for softball. And then want to give attention to some of y'all next week on Monday. Claire Bybee, a track star, will be signing her national letter of intent at the Multipurpose Building, also at 10:20 a.m. on Monday at the Multipurpose Building. She'll be revealing which college she will be attending at the event, so be sure to head to the MPB if you can make it on Monday morning. And when we return from a commercial break, we'll be talking with Wildcats golf coach Jeremy DeLorge about both Wildcats and Lady Cats golf, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Coach's Show here on Saturday, November 13th, and joining us is Coach Jeremy DeLorge, head Wildcats golf coach. Coach, thanks for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So I had the chance to talk with my predecessor, Don Julian, at one of the women's basketball scrimmages, and he talked about, he asked how many matches y'all had this fall, and I told him that the men had 4 and the women had 3, and he was amazed. He said that was the most he could recall ever. So how did this come to be, and has this been something the golf program has kind of been trying to build up to in the fall?
So this year we kind of did something a little bit different. Let's say we are allotted by UIL to have 8 tournaments throughout the entire school year, fall and spring, if we would like to. Typically, I like to have maybe 3 tournaments in the fall, and then have a good solid spring tournament schedule. This year there was a few tournaments that I really liked in the fall that were offered that kind of caught my eye for my guys to kind of get them used to that kind of like varsity kind of atmosphere and the teams that were going to be out there at those tournaments. So I decided to do 4 this year. Coach Whitney Spagner for the Lady Cats, she has a very good team, so she wanted to give them a little bit more looks this semester as well too, to get them kind of used to that kind of like tournament pressure, because she does have a very young team, to kind of get them kind of hit the ground running with them. So we decided to do something a little bit different this year, and in all honesty, I think it's kind of panned out for the best for both programs.
That's great to hear. And before we get talking this season, you and your squad lost some key players in Kip Childress and Grant Mahesky. Kip signed at ETBU, Grant Mahesky at University of Arkansas Monticello. And you mentioned, of course, as well, you lost Rylan, and then the women's team lost a big loss in Miriam Tran.
Yes, those are some definitely key pieces. I say Kip and Grant and Rylan for me on the guys' side. Those are my top 3 last year on varsity. So we knew going into this year that we were losing a lot of firepower, especially with 2 of them going to some very good programs. With Grant going over to Arkansas Monticello, that's a D2 program, and then with Kip going over to ETBU is a top D3 program in the nation. They're battling for first and second every tournament that they play in. So we're losing those 2, and then Rylan. It was going to be a hard mountain climb for the guys, but a lot of them have stepped up to the challenge. 2 of my guys, senior Luke Dietz and junior Caleb Kesting, they're kind of leading the charge, kind of getting everybody else to kind of just work at it, grind, and get better to make that spring push. So very happy to see that. On the girls' side, I say we joked all the time, me and Whitney, about how we wish that Miriam could have had just one more year in high school, because we knew this group that Whitney was going to have this year was going to be something special, and it is. Say she has 5 freshmen, no seniors, so it's a very young team, a very competitive team, and if we would have been able to throw Miriam in there, that would have been amazing. Let's say with her last year, it was a nice little send-off for her, finishing 9th in the state tournament. So, but like you said, those are some key pieces and some very big firepower that we're missing this year. But again, going into the future, we love the pieces that we have on the girls' side, on the Lady Cat side. Very young team with 5 freshmen that are getting that tournament experience, and then it's just going to be able to grow from there. It is something special to watch.
Absolutely, and you were kind of talking about how losing some key players is, and no less, a couple of really good players in Childress, Mahesky, and Tran. But you lose a lot of experience, leadership, and talent. But how'd your squad adjust to losing those pieces, especially for the women's team, which is young?
Oh yeah, so it's been really good to say honestly. I think last year it was kind of centered around Miriam for the girls' side. It was a young team as well too. You had 4 girls out there that we had one a senior, another one a freshman, and then 2 sophomores. So it was still a young team around Miriam. But now Mikhaili Metter, junior, she's kind of like taking that role on as what Miriam had last year as kind of like the leader. She's very soft-spoken, kind of opposite of Miriam. Miriam would talk and kind of like get some of the girls fired up and stuff like that. But Mikhaili has her own way of doing that. She is a little bit quieter, but the team as a whole, with 5 freshmen coming in, they've actually gelled very well together. The team camaraderie is something really special to look at out there on the golf course. On the guys' side, I do have some experience still there with Luke Dietz and Caleb Kessing that got to play with Kip and Grant and Rylan all last year. Caleb is going into his junior year now, and he's been on varsity all 3 years. So he's gotten to see over the last 2 years with Colton Bench going out into San Diego and playing golf out there, and then Kip and Grant playing college golf as well too this past year. So with those 3 individuals that Caleb's going to kind of play with and kind of build his kind of like philosophy of golf around, has been really nice for his leadership role, and he's definitely taken that to heart. Even though he isn't a senior, him and Luke together work out very, very well together. Caleb and Luke both kind of help out some of the underclassmen, some of the guys that are new to the varsity world, kind of helps get them going, knowing some different things, talking about some different courses, course management, things like that. So it's very, very awesome to see that the leadership roles have just been picked up right where they were left off from the previous years.
And that's great to hear, because a lot of times when you lose a lot of seniors, you kind of lose a lot of that voice and a lot of that leadership, like you were talking about.
Exactly.
And then, so Coach, you and your squad have already had a fall season come and go, but I would kind of like to walk through it, and starting with JV contest for both the women and the men's squad on October 6th.
Yeah, so that one was a good one. I say my JV squad and also Coach Whitney's JV squad. We got some guys that are younger, that are kind of newer to tournament golf. They've played golf before, but it's just kind of breaking them in and getting them used to it. The October 6th one was a little bit different. It was nice. It was a JV coach and play, so it was cool to kind of work with them, since a lot of them have never played tournament golf before, to kind of break them into the rules and talk about that. So, like I said, it was a little bit different out there at Wood Hollow on October 6th, but it was a great experience for the kids. We both walked away from there very happy with how they played, how they managed the tournament setting, how they managed the course, and we got to work going forward with all of the different tournament rules that they might not be used to, just going out there and playing on their own.
And that's great to hear, because sounds like it was more or less kind of like a scrimmage, and that you could kind of walk through the game and kind of just exactly that, kind of walk them through and kind of demonstrate everything and see how that works, as opposed to like, say, like a football player, a freshman getting thrown out into a varsity game.
Exactly, and that's what we didn't want to do. So when we definitely saw that tournament kind of pop up, we both talked about it, and we agreed that this was going to be the best for those kids, because, like you said, we don't want to just basically throw them out there to the wolves. That wouldn't be fair to them. It wouldn't be right. So we felt in our hearts that it was going to be best to kind of get them a tournament with us to kind of go over all those rules, to get that under their belt before we threw them out there on their own and playing a tournament just on their own. So like I said, it was nice to be able to see that and have them get that experience moving forward.
Absolutely. And then moving over on October 11th, both squads took on Mount Pleasant.
Yes. So that one was then at that point. So on the girls' side, that was the varsity tournament, and they finished third place in that one. Had a great showing. A couple of them were very nervous because it was the first tournament of the year. Just like in football game, you get amped up for your first. You get amped up for your first game, and then so the nerves were definitely kicking in for the girls, and it showed a little bit. But they were able to settle down and have some good rounds out there. But like I said, they finished third at that tournament, which was a great outing. And on the other side, the guys, it was my JV guys. It was their first tournament from week to week. They were able to take everything that we talked about beforehand on October 6th, all those different rules and the things to look at course management wise. So the JV guys, it was a good stepping stone going into their first tournament, playing that. And a couple of them were very good. Jake Armstrong, it was his first actual tournament on his own, as well as Cohen Moss and Jerry Choi as well too. But they kind of adapted pretty well out there at Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant is a tricky course. The greens are quick, so they had to make some adjustments on course. That was their first time to be kind of thrown into that situation where they haven't seen the course, and they had to make that on-course adjustment. So it was good to see their kind of growth within that one tournament as they moved on each hole.
Absolutely, and it's great to get a third-place finish in your first varsity contest, no less.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving over, we've got an October 18th date where y'all hosted both varsity squads here in Sulphur Springs.
Yes, so that tournament we actually we had 19 individuals playing that for us. Say all of our both team squads, JV and varsity, we all played in there, and it was nice. Both varsities were able to take third place in that tournament, so that was a good outing to see. So with definitely hosting, we know the course, we practice out there every day, so the kids definitely felt comfortable with the setup of the course, the greens, how fast they were, how receptive they were, and all that. So it was still very good to see that we were able to come out there and put up a good showing on our home tournament. And I know the kids weren't fully too happy with how they shot because it is our home course. They thought they probably should have shot a little bit better here and there. But that's what me and Whitney talked about. No matter what course it is, whether it's your home course or a new course, you can't have these high expectations because you can't set the bar too incredibly high because all you're going to do is just feel defeated afterwards. And golf is one of those things that it's a very mental game. So if you are saying, if I don't shoot this at my home course, then I didn't play good, even though you still put up a good number, you can still feel like you lost at that time. And so it's trying to get over that hurdle of, hey, even though it's our home course, you still got to take shot by shot. You can't be thinking about your end score. You can't be thinking about 2 shots ahead. You got to be in the moment and in the current shot. And it kind of settled some of them down to put up some good closing numbers to where we can both varsity squads get third on both squads. So it was very nice.
Yeah, you talking about just focusing on your current drive reminded me of when Coach Owen said, win the play, win the day.
Yes, exactly.
Just focus on what you're doing right then. Don't think about 3 steps ahead. Just focus on what you have right in front of you.
Yeah, that's perfectly said.
And then when we return from a commercial break, we'll detail more of the fall 2021 season for Wildcats and Lady Cats golf. Welcome back to the Coach's Show here on Saturday, November 13th. Joining us today is Coach Jeremy DeLorge, head Wildcats golf coach, and he's here talking Wildcats golf and Lady Cats golf. But, Coach, your final Tuesday game day was on October 26th in Longview at Tempest, and how did that contest go, and what did you like that you saw from your squad?
So, yeah, Tempest is actually the place where we have our district tournament in the spring. So it's good to go ahead and get that kind of early season kind of look at the course to kind of get a familiar look at it, especially with our squads. With Whitney's squad, she's only had on her varsity squad this year only 2 or 3 that have seen the course. So it was the first time seeing it for some of those younger underclassmen, those freshmen that are on the varsity squad, to kind of get them used to it as well too. And then same thing on my side. I got 3 new varsity players. So we had a lot of first eyes on the course, a lot of eye-opening experience for some of those guys, seeing how much trouble could actually come into play on where to put shots. But it's a good look to go ahead and have that early kind of feel for the course to where then whenever we get into the spring and we go see it again before district, they're a little bit more familiar. So we have our bar set for now for both the girls and guys. All right, so this is what we shot in the fall. Next time when we go out there in the spring before district as a spring district preview, we have that bar set. Okay, let's look to go below that now, and then by the time we get to district, that'll be a third time for the year. So we're definitely looking at getting a lot of play out there to get them put them in the best position to succeed at district. And the girls ended up finishing third in that tournament as well too. So every single one of the varsity Lady Cat tournaments, they finished in third place. So that's a good bar to set for them going into the spring, especially with it being such a young team. But like I said, it's very competitive. They're competitive within themselves as well as with other teams too. So it's very nice to see that fire for that young of a team to come out and get third in every single tournament that they played this year. On the guys' side, over at Tempest, we didn't have the best outing that we could have put together. A few shots here and there. With three of the guys not knowing really too much of the course, some trouble kind of snuck up on them that they weren't expecting, and so we didn't put up our best outing out there. But like I said, we definitely have a bar set that we are looking to definitely get under that when we get into our spring district preview.
Yeah, absolutely. And something I was talking about with Coach Ross Hicks during the cross-country season is that he mentioned that they love to go run out in Mount Pleasant because that was their district course, and they ran it twice a year. So, and, with a cross-country team that's got a couple of upperclassmen, you're talking about Tempest and just kind of being a little bit surprised by the district course leads me to believe that in, say, even a year, maybe even two time, they could probably have that course down.
Oh, yes, definitely. I say typically with the golfers that we have, they're very intuitive with the different courses and course management. So they were able to make on course that day, but the more looks they have at it, just like you were talking about with Coach Hicks and his cross country team, the more looks that you have at something, the more comfortable you're going to get with the layout of it. The more comfortable you're going to get with certain shots and here and there. So they definitely are looking forward to getting back out there. All the guys, as we were leaving Tempest, they are already starting to ask, hey, when do we come back out, Coach? Because we know we can play better than this. So that's one thing that's music to my ears, knowing that they're ready to get back out there, they're ready to conquer the course, and they're ready to put their best foot forward going out that course next time.
And then before we went to commercial, we talked JV and the varsity's first two contests, but your final two took place in the DFW Metroplex, and granted in pretty big different areas.
Yes.
But starting with Monday, November 1st, so not this last Monday, but the Monday before that, y'all took on Richardson High School in Garland at Firewheel Bridges Golf Course.
Yes. So that was a fun tournament. I'm from Irving, so right in the DFW area. So I'm used to the Firewheel courses, and I thought it would be something a little bit different and interesting for our guys to see, and they definitely walked off the course going, Coach, what is this? I'm like, they're like, what's going on with this course? It's a different atmosphere than what we're used to seeing every single day at our course. Our course is phenomenal. I absolutely love our course. All of our guys love our course. It's in probably the best shape that we've ever seen it. So green speeds were actually pretty similar, but everything else was a little bit different. Out here in East Texas area, you have a little bit more flatter areas of the greens. They're not so much built up as what we call it turtleback, pretty much. So when we get into the DFW area, it is a lot of like turtleback built up greens. So if you're happen to be on the edge of a green or you're just off here or there, it's rolling down good, and you have a pretty tough uphill chip. So just something to get used to. Tempest has a few of those spots. And then if we end up getting into regionals over at RGAC and Rockwall, they definitely have that same setup too. So my philosophy as a coach, I want to throw everything that I can at the kids to where almost they feel a little bit uncomfortable in a way to make sure they do get comfortable with those uncomfortable situations. So getting them into a different course like that in the DFW area will definitely push their limits and their skills on different things, but then it also helps us know what we need to work on for our future tournaments, to where when we do get to a course that doesn't have such a hard like green setup to where it's not so much prevalent on some hitting some chips right on spots. You can get a little bit away. It fine tunes their chipping skills to where then we do have a little bit easier green setup. Then we can capitalize on those a lot better. So it was nice to see their kind of fight and grind out there at Firewheel. They loved the course. They wanted to go back. They wanted to go right back out and be like, hey, I know the course now, so I want to go out here and play again. I told them, tap the brakes a little bit. We got to drive back to Sulphur Springs, guys. It's like we still got. I still got to get home. Y'all got to get home. We got schoolwork to do and stuff like that too. But that's the kind of thing that I love with these guys. They have a fire and competitiveness that they don't want to ever give up. They know that they can do better. So it's always great to see.
And then you mentioned how your players didn't have the best outings at not only Tempest, but then at Firewheel. But you mentioned that your players wanted to get back out there and get right back on the course. Do you anticipate your team being back out in Garland in the spring?
If the tournament pulls up that one of the Richardson schools or something like that is hosting out there at Firewheel, I would like to get back out there. They really enjoyed the course. I love the course too. For them, it kind of pushes them. And so if we're able to get back out there at Firewheel, I would like to, one, to see their improvement from tournament to tournament, but then also to give them that chance to go back out there and just play that course again, because they did really like it.
That's great to hear. But when we return, we'll wrap up talking about the fall season for Wildcats golf and discuss what's next for the team. Welcome back to the Coach's Show here on Saturday, November 13th. And before we went to commercial, we were talking about the Varsity Wildcats and Lady Cats golf and all of their contests. But your final contest of the fall 2021 season was earlier in the week on Monday. And last week, y'all were out in the easternmost part of the Metroplex. Yes. And Monday, y'all were just about as far north as possible, not too far removed from the Red River, to take on Melissa at Bridges Golf Course in Gunter.
Yes. So that one, it was a completely different setup than any course that the guys have seen. Again, like I said, I like throwing them into some different situations, almost making them feel uncomfortable, to make them try and be comfortable in those uncomfortable situations. That course, the Bridges, we were going to go out there and play 2 years ago, the Monday after spring break. If everybody remembers, after spring break 2 years ago, everything shut down. So it was kind of hard for some of those guys that wanted to go out there and play that course 2 years ago, that they weren't able to. So when I saw the tournament pop back up again, I definitely jumped on it this year for the guys. It's a link style course. It's very flat, very open, deep bunkers. But again, when we're in Texas, you got an open area. Any wind that comes out, you're gonna feel it. So the wind definitely kicked up, but it was good to see some of them turn in some pretty good rounds out there. We just missed placing third by a few strokes there. Had a couple holes with certain people, just kind of with certain guys that just kind of ate them up a little bit. Kind of got into a bad spot. Got into some thick grass, because that's the link style. Is once you get off the fairway, there's definitely some tall grass that's about like shin to knee high, and so if you get in there, it's pretty rough to get out of and make a good score. But they love the course. So if I can go back out there in the spring or even next year or something like that, I definitely look at doing that for them, because some of those guys that felt and knew, and me and them both felt and knew that they could probably turn in a little bit better of a score if it wasn't just for that one shot or that one hole or that one bad break or something like that. They wanted to get back out there, like I said, on pretty much every single tournament that they come off the course and they're going, Coach, I could have done better if it was just for this one thing. And I'm like, guys, that's just a game of golf. I said, you're always going to get that bad break that you go, hey, if I just got this kick or if I just did this, then I could have done something a little bit different. I said, but keep that in your head, because now for the next tournament, now we have that locked away. Hey, don't make the same mistake. Choose a different shot here. Do this, do that. I said, everything, just take it as a learning experience. But that tournament, you had some good teams out there. Melissa is typically one of the top teams in 4A. You had Rock Hill, that's a good 5A out there too. and we were able to stay with them and compete pretty good. Like I said, we just missed out of placing in a top 3 finish out there too. So overall, I can't be too disappointed with my guys this semester with the tournaments that we had, the way that they played, the way that they managed. Just talking to them about tournament to tournament, course to course, things like that too. Good to see that fire and competitiveness out of them, that it's not going away as we go into the spring semester. Just got to work on grinding and fine tuning those little things that we can improve on to make our good, strong spring push.
And then, so Coach, with your fall season now come and gone, what's next for you and your squad as you look onward to the spring?
Let's say right now, we're just letting everything kind of take it easy. This week has been pretty crazy with school. We've had a couple different things going on. We had our Veterans Day Assembly on Thursday. We had a chance for some of the kids to go out and watch the first act of the SpongeBob musical play and stuff like that too. So we just kind of been taking it easy, letting them kind of get back up because we had tournaments back to back every week, and I've given the guys a little bit of time to get caught up on schoolwork, to make sure they're not falling too far behind. Even though they're very good about staying on top of their stuff. But now we're kind of battling some of the cold weather that's coming in, so we gotta be able to pick and choose our times to where we can really get out there, and then also with it being dark a little bit sooner. Our goal right now going into the spring semester is just basically fine-tune, work on the things that we can improve on with our short game, make sure everything is good to go for that spring push, and kind of get everything dialed in and just kind of just get all those rough edges sanded out and good to go for the spring.
And anything else you'd like to add, Coach?
Just both the guys and the girls. We do have a fundraiser tournament every year. We had our 3rd annual fundraiser golf tournament. So that me and Coach Whitney, have been pushing forward the last 3 years. We do our annual Wildcat Scramble out at the Country Club. We had that on November 6th. We had a great turnout. The community is absolutely grade A1, absolute phenomenal. I absolutely love the support from the community. Both of us do, and we always get blown away by how much support and just gratitude from the community that we get. And so this year at the fundraiser tournament, thanks to all the sponsors that donated and then all the community members that came out here and played in that, we raised just about or just over $15,000 for this year alone. So our 3-year total is somewhere around $35,000 to $37,000. Our goal for that is to build an indoor facility for our golf program, and we are starting to get the talks going with Owens and figuring out where we can put that. We're looking at talking to the board as well too to kind of see some of the different plans that we can do with that. That is our big goal. We got to look at seeing how much it will cost for the kids. Because like I said, during this time and kind of into the spring a little bit, it does get dark a little bit earlier, so we don't have as much daylight to work with. So if we have an indoor facility, then we can go in there, turn on the lights, and we can just practice whenever we need to. Cold weather, especially during this time, as we get into December, January, February, it gets really hard to go out there and practice in 40-degree weather. You hit a bad shot, your hands are going to be ringing for a while. So with that being said, that is our ultimate goal with that. And the players are super hyped up about that. The kids that are the underclassmen down in middle school are super excited about that possibility, and we're just looking to grow the golf program as best we can while we're here, for as long as we're here, and hopefully that after we're gone, long gone, that the program will still be flourishing with the facilities that we're able to put in. But that's just a little bit there. But as far as the kids that we have in our program now, we could not be more happy with their fire, determination, and competitive spirit going forward. And we're very, very, very interested and excited to see what happens in the spring push going into district.
And before I let you go, since you've got me interested in this indoor golf facility, tell to listeners and viewers what that would kind of look like, and perhaps some nearby schools that might have a comparable facility?
Yeah, so a couple of places that might have something like that, especially in our district right now. Pine Tree has a facility, little indoor facility that they have. T-High out there in Texarkana, they have an indoor golf facility too. So we're looking at kind of mirroring them, as well as Rockwall High School also has an indoor facility as well too that they put in. So we definitely, me and Coach Whitney, we've kind of picked their brains. Coach Billy Watkins out there at Rockwall, Taylor Glenn down in Pine Tree, and Ryan Hunt's over in T-High. We've kind of picked their brains, see what they put in, stuff like that too. But me and Whitney both have a good layout of what we want in there. Now, whether once we start talking to the different companies and different businesses and stuff like that, and seeing how much it costs, might change our philosophy and idea on it. But as right now, what our goal is to have a indoor facility that has a couple different hitting bays into just net, and just work on like your swing, or on one side of the building we'll have a mirrored wall, to where as they're looking back, they can see their takeaway and their swing and make sure everything is in line there. They're just make sure they're getting good contact, because when you go hitting into a net, you don't get so much feedback on where the ball goes. But that area right there would just mainly be working on mechanics of the swing as well as contact with the ball. So we look at having a few of those, as well as a couple of simulators that would then measure club speed, ball speed, spin rate, to where then you're actually getting the feedback on, okay, my spin rate's a little bit too high with this club, or my launch angle is a little bit low with my driver. What do I need to do to work on that? So then we can really tweak those mechanics to get them the most optimal and successful for their game. And so that would be on one side of the facility, and then there would be a little walkway. And on the other side, where the mirror wall is, you would have an area for like putting and chipping as well too. So we have a big about 30 or so foot putting green that has like a strip a little bit thicker turf to chip out of, and really work on putting and chipping from there. We would be looking at adding some storage in there for the students that want to keep their push carts or their golf bags. If we're practicing in there so often, then we can throw the golf bags in there. But anything else that we have storage-wise, golf balls that we purchase for the kids, extra bags that we purchase for the teams too. So anything like that we can just store away for storage, we'd also have in there. So definitely something, our big goal that whenever I took over the guys program, that me and Whitney both sat down and said, hey, this is something that we would love to have for the kids, because there are certain schools in this area, Rockwall, 45 minutes down the road, Pine Tree, which is in our district, T-High, which is in our district, they have that kind of, I don't want to say it's almost in a way a leg up, because they are able to get an indoor facility that they can practice in, even in the cold weather. Maybe we'd have to be sitting at home while they're in there and working on some stuff. So anything that we can do to grow the program and get the program into the best position for the kids to succeed, that's what we want to do, and that's what we've been very blessed with being able to do with the support of the community that's been around.
And even without the indoor facility, and as we mentioned previously in the show, losing a couple of seniors, it still seems like the Wildcat and Lady Cat golf programs are headed in the absolute right direction.
Most definitely. Whitney is very excited with her young squad, with having those 5 freshmen, is very, very big for her, because they're already coming out there and firing on all cylinders. They're playing some really good golf right now for her. Which is help get them into those third place finishes and on the cusp of a second or first as well too in a couple of those tournaments. So it's been very, very nice to see. I know Whitney is very, very fired up about this team, as well as the girls are, and the community, to kind of see what they can put forward going into the spring as well as the next 3 years as they have that whole group together. On the guys' side, got a little bit more upperclassmen, but only have 3 seniors that are going to be graduating this year. So we are going to have a good full team with experience under our belt, as well as the 8th grade group. A lot of people in the community know those 8th graders that are coming up. Got about 5 or 6 of those guys that are playing a ton of golf right now. They absolutely love it. They have a passion and drive for the game. They play together all the time. They're very competitive with each other, which is awesome to see. I love going out there to the course and watching them play together, and they're making like little competitive, fun, joking jabs at each other on the course. But as soon as they're off the course, they're the best of friends. They absolutely love it. So the golf program, the Wildcat and Lady Cat golf programs, are in a very good spot, in a very good position to be growing and moving forward for a few years to come now.
And thanks so much for joining us here, Coach DeLorge. And thank you to all those home, near, far, wherever you are, for supporting not only Wildcat Sports, but Lady Cat Sports here in Sulphur Springs. I'm Ross Levinsky, Sports Director at KSST Radio, and thanks, as always, to videographer Doug Haston and James Terry for making this show possible every Saturday. But that'll do it for us here at KSST. We'll see y'all next Saturday.